Hi, Sandy and I want to bring you the second Advent Fireside Chat for 2025. Today, we are adding the ox to our stable. Technically, what we're going to be buying is water buffalo. And yes, I know this is an American bison, but if you type buffalo into Amazon for a stuffed animal, this is what you get, an American bison. So we're going to live with it. What we're after with this gift is that our World Vision neighbors are going to learn the truth of Proverbs 14, verse 4. Where there are no oxen, the feeding trough is empty, but through the strength of an ox comes an abundant harvest. Here's the practical realities of having an ox. It can take one farmer what it takes one farmer 7 days to do. When you add an ox to the equation, he can get it done in 1 or 2 days. The experts who study this sort of thing describe that as a 250% more efficient use of energy. Now, that not only means the farmer and his family eats better, but they get to move from being subsistence farmers, just growing enough to feed themselves, to guys who can use the market to make money and take care of their family. The ox is the gift we're giving, but the gift the ox gives to us is to remind you and me that we should multiply our strength so we don't live limited by merely what we can do, but we learn to call on God and use His power. For example, is there any place in your life where you would like to be 250% more efficient? Listen to what Paul told the believers in Ephesus. This is from the Eugene Peterson paraphrase of the Bible. Remember, folks, God can do anything you know. He can do far more than you can ever ask or even imagine in your wildest dreams. I think too often, I know I live like a farmer who leaves his ox back in the stable and goes out to work the field by hand. I do things on my own rather than using the power of God. Prayer sometimes is, well, it's not always my first thought. Sometimes I try to solve it myself and only pray when it really gets desperate. So, is there something in your life that you need from God? That was a question a friend of mine used to ask me all the time. And it was sort of an embarrassing question because there were times when he would go up and go, "So, I want to pray for you. What do you need from God?" And there were times you just kind of shrugged your shoulders and I couldn't give him a certain answer. But I discovered in times when I was intentional about my own prayers, focused on where I needed God's strength in my life, I could give him a prompt and really, really meaningful answer. Prayer is something that God wants from us. Jesus tells his disciples, pray that you may have strength. That's in Luke 21, if you want to check me. So do you have an area in your life that needs to move beyond yourself? Where, like the founder of World Vision said, you might need a miracle where our effort comes to the end and only God can come in and do what God needs doing? That's his definition of miracle. And the ox reminds us to call on God, not lean on our own strength, but to pray. Like Jesus said, pray that you might have strength, because our God can do far more than we can ask or even imagine. Have a great one. I'll see you on Sunday.